so excited for this panel, not only because it's the panel that brought us to Davos, this is my first time, but also because I get to share the stage with some pretty formidable humans, some of whom I call very, very good friends, but also women that I really admire, look up to, and who have built some pretty extraordinary things in their time. So my name is Denisse Rudich. I am CEO of Rudich Advisory. I work across the financial crime ecosystem, and I have a portfolio of public-private engagements. I'm director of the G7 and G20 research groups, so I have been to for the 25 years, I have been to international summits, but I'm also a founder and a builder, so very excited to be here today. With regards to my work in crypto, I helped set up, I did set up the first global working group on anti-money laundering and counter-terrorist financing, and the engagement framework with the Global Anti-Money Laundering Standard Setter, the Financial Action Task Force. That has evolved into the Virtual Assets Contact Group, for those of you who are members. And it's such an exciting and thriving space to be. So we are here to discuss Happily Ever After, Women, Web3, and what comes next, inclusion or exploitation. And I'm going to ask our panelists to please introduce themselves so you know who they are, and you can ask them questions afterwards. And then we'll get started. Thank you.
All right. Valerie-Leila Jaber. I'm currently a senior advisor to the Crypto Council for Innovation, focusing on illicit finance. Before that, I spent over 5 years at Coinbase, being their global head of financial crime compliance. My background, though, is TradFi, so I grew up in TradFi and really found that the work in TradFi really helped progress me through to crypto, so really excited to talk today.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. My name is Darya Akry. I lead business development at Token Recovery. At Token Recovery, we investigate and we trace and recover digital assets. So we are a group of ex-law enforcement agents, a professional tracing expert. And I'm in Web3 since 2019. I've been mainly in marketing and business development positions. And thank you for raising such an important topic today. Really excited to be part of the discussion.
Leven-Leila, VP Compliance at Crypto.com. I cover EMEA region and rest of the world. My background sits at the intersection of hyper-growth technology and regulatory standards. I help a business navigate kind of compliance journey from startup, the kind of build fast energy, to larger scale organizations. So I worked at a 6-people startup, scaling up in 3 years to 700 people. I also worked
at a unicorn.
Unfortunately, I thought I was going to retire, but one of our founders, which is, the only thing he needs to manage is money, but he can't. That's why we have the panel, right? And then up to a large organization like Crypto.com, Amazon, and I've recently just moved from, historically tested, evolved market in Europe, UK, to the Middle East, which is all about innovation and moving fast. And my philosophy in compliance and focus is very simple. I just want to build anything with a great foundation, which is with trust, safety, and intentionality is all about why I'm building it. And really looking forward to talk about it with other panelists today.
I'm Valeria Bystrowicz. I work for Perkins Coie. I am an attorney by trade, but 3.5 years I switched to a more business-oriented role where I basically lead strategic alliances to connect people to build value.
She's an amazing connector. Yes. All right, so we're going to get started with our panel. So a lot has happened in the crypto space in 2025. So I was like, Google, can you give me some success stories involving women in crypto and the Web3 space? And what came up was this. Heather Morgan, also known as Razzlecan. She is a rapper, and she has made her return to social media. For those of you who don't know who Razzlecan is, she was famously jailed for laundering the proceeds of the Bitfinex hacks. I think it was 120,000 Bitcoin, but she's free and back to give us her music. We also have rapper Iggy Azalea, whose meme coin, Monitor Iggy, saw a resurgence. So the value's gone back up, it's gone back down, back up, but down, whatnot. And other notable women got in the meme coin space. So that's the other kind of success story. And then this year saw the biggest crypto asset seizure, which is actually the biggest global asset seizure in law enforcement ever, circles. After the goddess of wealth, Coie was arrested for defrauding more than 128,000 people and converting it to Bitcoin. So law enforcement sees between, depending on the value of Bitcoin on the day, $7 to $15 billion. So I sat at my computer and I asked myself, did I need a different prompt? I was thinking we were gonna have some VC stories, some founder stories, but this is what has come up. So this panel actually originally started as a fin crime panel, but GBBC, Sandra, have actually, we've broadened this to more of a kind of diversity and inclusion panel. Yeah, I will say that. But it's also kind of changed my thinking around women in the crypto space, because when you transition from TradFi into the space, you can think, oh, there's not a problem. But actually, you look around rooms, you look at the statistics, and there is a little bit of a problem. And also the dialogue, right? Like women's success stories in crypto, they were not good. None of these were good stories. Or well, maybe one of them, potentially. Anyhow, so what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be talking about women as employees working in the crypto space. We're gonna talk about women as builders in the crypto space, and then we are going to talk about women as investors, as buyers, and consumers in the crypto space as well. So we're gonna start with women working in the crypto space. And we're gonna start with you, Valeria. You're gonna look at me, and you're gonna tell me about kind of your experience as a woman in the crypto space. Before you do that though, I am gonna read a couple of statistics. Some statistics that were, I think there was a report by Hacken that shared that female representation in leadership roles and technical roles at blockchain companies are about 6%, which is a really low number or percentage, in my opinion, but you can have your own thoughts. Women also comprise only 27% of the workforce, leading Web3 startups in 2023, and women working on Web3 finance earn 46% on average less than men. So I was, again, in my head, I'm like, oh, we're fine. And then I read these stats, and then I started having conversations, and I was like, are we though? So Valeria, tell us about your experience as a woman working in this space.
Also, I'm going to talk about my personal experience. I am originally from Argentina. I live in the US. So my experience comes from an immigrant woman. And I am aware that the gap is real and that there is a lack of leadership and technical roles in the space, but not only in the space in general. In crypto, in my personal view, it's a little bit better because it's a younger industry. I feel it's less rigid. And I also feel that it values contribution more than pedigree. In my case, as I was saying, I am an attorney. I joined Perkins 10 years ago. Perkins has it was the first big law firm to have a blockchain group. And I was supported I had male support to do my transition. I would have not done, male support until I thought, but now I told my two partners not to come. So I'm starting to question the whole support. But aside from that, we have been in a male-dominated culture for centuries. And I feel that sometimes the approach that we take is like we want to erase the differences which are there. I think they shouldn't be a penalty for women, but I think we should take advantage more of those males that are still there to open our doors. And this is kind of uncomfortable to say, but in my experience, I feel like we should really look into ourselves, because many times I don't feel like we are the strongest allies of other women besides what we say, that we women. So that's kind of my story.
Thank you. And Val, you've come from TradFi. You came from TradFi into DeFi. So again, tell us a little bit about, is this just a crypto-specific issue or more widely kind of, you just tell us.
Yeah, no, I agree that in crypto certainly seems to be a bit more friendly. But frankly, yeah, coming from TradFi into crypto, I didn't feel like it was really all that different in looking at the roles that are available. I think my situation may have been a bit different in that I started in crypto at a senior level, and I was at a senior level because in TradFi I was at a senior level. And so, being able to come in and, help build out the financial crime program for Coinbase was an incredible opportunity, but I had easily half of my team were women. But that being said, I don't think that's necessarily that common, but I also don't think necessarily it is only crypto, that it's only crypto. It's also in TradFi. What I would say, and I completely agree with Valeria, that I feel that crypto actually is a very friendly environment for women. Not only is it progressive, but also the remote nature of crypto, I think, has actually opened up possibilities and opportunities to the workforce, and I think that's really important. I remember when I was in TradFi and having to tell a candidate who just wanted to, this is pre-COVID, that just wanted to work from home 3 days a week and lost a great female candidate because we would not support having this woman work from home for 3 days out of the week. But in crypto, it's remote first, and that, I think, in and of itself opens up the possibilities. So my pitch is, come on in, ladies, the water's warm. I think crypto is certainly a place to be.
All right, Leven, or about
Yeah,
the
I
women
can go.
engineers
I
in
just
sales?
want to have this positivity keep going and let all the ladies come to the crypto, and particularly the great ones. So, and in my experience, I actually worked my way through. I come from a various background. I worked in the fashion industry, and I started at engineering, so I have jumped in compliance in the middle of my career. But because I think, and I hit my career ceiling in the payment space, in the financial services, and I see that. But I take it as opportunity, and opportunity to be strong and to pass that glass ceiling. And I think that's what I totally agree with Valeria. I think we needed to, not just for women, it's for everybody individual. It's not about women, it's about as an individual, would you be able to resilient enough to get through that glass ceiling and to step into that senior role? But going back to crypto, I think because we're so fast. So when I was saying in the payment firm, because I didn't see the glass ceiling because I was build, right? And I want to get that unicorn, like, what is that? So I haven't got time to look at, where I am in the firm, am I in the senior role? But when I get into that boardroom, I realize, okay, I have some problem. And so, but in the crypto space, you get lots of support. People don't care, right? It's not important. It's all about your capabilities. Can you do it? And can you be fast enough to do it? And I think women are great executors, and they execute. And that's the most important thing. And that's where I was saying, and now the space is even faster. We got the AI, all the manual stuff, repetitive, stupid tasks that you all get your AI to do. So women are free up, you get more creativity, and And the TriFi women have a solid foundation to move to the crypto space as the crypto space is more regulated, and we get, the standards we're meeting to the bank, and traditional bank and investment banks. So now the TriFi has even more opportunity for them to feel like, okay, do I have a glass ceiling? No, you can come to the crypto space and join us.
And I think also where we did kind of feel that there was a bit of a difference was in the lower level roles. So kind of women coming either as engineers or into sales functions. There's definitely a difference between that and legal compliance, risk,
That's very
anti-money
true.
laundering,
Yeah.
and marketing, right? So you do have that. So kind of exploring pathways and how do you get more women into the sales, more women into the engineering space. But that's not just a crypto issue. That's like a global ICT issue. So information communications technology issue. So
Just on that point, I think it is really important in crypto space. What I see is that you shape your own role, because this is not traditional thing, right? Everything is new, and you can create your own role, and that's the most refreshing thing in the crypto sector. So that's even open more doors for you to be step up. Like we have a chief entertainment officer. No, just joking. But that's what I mean. You can create your own role.
I just want to add one thing, amplifying that, is that what I've seen in crypto as opposed to my time in TradFi is that it really breaks free the layers and layers and layers of bureaucracy, of governance that, oh wait, no, you can't talk to this person because they're 3 levels up from you. To the point Leven made, it doesn't matter. Are you shipping something? Great. Who you need to talk to, get it done. And so that way, I do think that in crypto, unlike in TradFi, where it really can be bogged down in just incredible levels of bureaucracy, I think it, at least for me, my transition into crypto was incredibly refreshing to be able to say, no, I don't need to bother with all of those, hierarchies.
amazing. So we're going to move to women as builders, and I'm going to now give the floor to Darya, who has worked in a tech startup, and she's going to tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so just to continue the positivity, I want to share.
So positive.
I've been I found a lot of opportunities, and Web3 gives a lot of opportunities for both women, men, any nationality, any background to join, learn, because this is a very fast-moving environment, right? So when you think today the narrative is one thing, tomorrow it could be switching. So you always have to learn. And from my personal background, I always was fortunate to work with great founders, been always supported. Sometimes I know firsthand what does it mean to work in a minority, because I found myself with 15 developers and 2 male founders, and I need to communicate what builders are doing to the market and make sure it aligns with what investors and founders want. So there are opportunities for everyone, and being a woman is a great thing, and we just need to make sure that we create a supportive environment, we inspire other women to join, and there are education programs and more opportunities for women in place, and the communities are there to support them, to innovate and build and grow within the company.
So I think one of the things that's interesting is the communities are there somewhere. But and this is where I think I'm going to share a story. So I am also a founder. So I'm building a RegTech Productopedia. It helps you follow the money. It's Web3 adjacent in that we actually look at how crypto products function, value chains behind them, and then the risk indicators and controls and whatnot. We had been funded by USAID, $300,000. It was all very exciting. It took a long time to get there. Then we got doged. So, and it's taken a long time to kind of like pick yourself up and move forward. As a founder, as a female founder, and maybe any founders, like you worry about your staff, the ability to pay people in terms of looking for funding. Only, I think, 7% of all Web3 venture capital deals were allocated to female-led startups. So for me, even the thought of approaching a venture capital without an MVP, a full product, something that's not perfect but close to perfect, it was very difficult. So maybe it's like, I don't know if it's the risk tolerance, risk levels, but I also didn't know where to go for help when this happened, who to talk to, or even the idea of asking for help. And it's taken 9 months for me to actually start talking to people about this, start talking about it publicly, and kind of lifting yourself up to move forward. And I think even though there are ecosystems out there, there aren't that many ecosystems that feel like a safe space for you to actually go and seek help in a way that it doesn't feel a little bit shameful or a little bit sad, but that's okay. Which is fine. Now, Leven, you're also a founder.
So yes, so apart from on the side as a crypto convene, I also have my a co-founder of digital audit as a service platform. Is empowered by AI. Some of you know the most difficult thing is assess culture within the compliance. So this is a more of new digitalized audit to assess the culture within your firm where you can drive the business. And I probably, again, I'm just always been lucky to have the support. My co-founder is my ex-boss, where we didn't manage to make the unicorn, but he's the good one. I come often, people come to me saying, do you need funding? Do you need funding? And which is a very fortunate thing, and which is great. So again, I go back to probably it's a finding the mentor is important to in the right amount of people surrounded by, but also so I think there is opportunities to knock on the door and then focusing, developing the value and solving the actual problem. So I would still, it's very tough being an entrepreneur, not going to lie, but I think probably as an entrepreneur, regardless whether it's a female or male, you come across, again, the same barriers and same challenges you have to face. And I go back to that, again, is just, you have to keep pushing.
It's also understanding the types of funding and what's the right funding for you and your firm. And again, everybody talks about VC funding, but that, depending on the stage of your growth journey, that might actually be the very much wrong kind of funding for you, whether there's other sources of capital that you can get. So is it investment? Is it funding, like grant funding? Is it friends and family rounds? So trying to make sure that aligns with your stage of growth, with what you're capable of delivering. I'm a single parent, so kind of, again, how do you balance your familial duties with your desire to be an entrepreneur? Like, it's always so talking to people about that and having these conversations, I think is really important. So now we're gonna get to the financial crime portion of the panel, and look at kind of, what are, in terms of women as consumers, but also women as victims. So we do know that, and I will start with you, Val, in terms of women as victims, there are particular crime types that specifically affect women more disproportionately than men. So I will hand you the floor.
Well, I think that this is also an area that might need to have a little bit of myth busting. I mean, certainly, I think everyone's heard the romance scams, right? Everyone's heard of pig butchering. And certainly the level of victimization of women is significant, very significant. But they're not the only victims. When I think of this onslaught, which is really the only way I can really think about it, it's the industrialization of vulnerability is what it is. And that coupled with new technologies, AI deep fakes, that really are going to the heart of this type of fraud that's going on now. And certainly, women do fall victim to that. But I did want to just say, I don't think it's only women. You hear like the elderly men, women, elderly, but it is something that is going into, the fabric, if you will, almost that we need to deal with. So I know we started very positive on crypto, and I'm still incredibly positive on crypto. But this is an area I think that has to be taken really seriously. And I know that there's a lot of education that goes out there, a lot of education. But sometimes, you know, trying to convince somebody that they're actually being defrauded is actually more difficult than you would think that it is. But certainly, you know, that's my sense of it.
And Darya, I mean, you get to see a lot of really interesting things in your work. So
Yeah, so we see a lot of abuse of trust for women as well. And like you said, it's been industrialized now, the type of scams. And so what we're seeing at Token Recovery, that women, both men and women, but women, we've got a couple of recent cases where women were attacked by well-crafted social engineering attacks. An example, a woman, mother of 4 kids, got approached by HR manager, got offered a job, and then to get her payments, so just to review some mobile apps, then to get her payments, she would need to deposit more money to unlock the next level of payment and so on. Ended up losing over $100,000. Female hedge fund founder ended up losing over 2 million of her funds by hiring an unprofessional trader who basically stolen her money on his personal account, which we discovered with our investigators. So exploitation, yes, I think so. Trust is to be built. What can we do about it? For us to decide. So there is still a lot of work to be done to attract more women, and mainly on regulatory and building protection policies and making sure they are working effectively.
thank you very much. And Leven, you had some really great stats around kind of the amount of losses and different type of frauds. Do you remember this? Sorry, I was not. I did not tell her I was going to give her that
It's a
question,
test.
so I do apologize. But
Well,
I thought it was interesting.
I think I was initially going to keep going this negativity about the fraud and financial crime, but whilst I think Valeria, when they're talking, and today being at GBBC, a lot of panel talking about, and I constantly being approached by reg tax. And I think I'm going to talk about some opportunities for some of the entrepreneurs in the room, if there are, or some of the reg tax, if they are, you're offering solutions. I think, in fact, yes, I'm going to go back to the data, sorry, and I'll come back. In 2025, there's a $14 billion in fraud. And this is a globally, and it's not only just in the UK, it's not just female, it's not male, it's a global issue. And this has to be addressed on a national policy level, national risk assessment level, and down to the financial institutions, individuals. And as a consumer, sometimes I'm frustrated. I deliberately put notification when the customer on the phone making a transaction, and we put a pop-up and saying, anybody talk to you saying, asking you to transfer money is a criminal. I cannot tell even more straight. But of course, when you're in that moment, you don't, and right? But I think there's also responsibility as a consumer. You need also to be cautious about when you're making those transactions. And so it's not just a one issue. I think it is a public and private sector issue. Needs to address that, and it's not on the agenda. Obviously, if we think that's a gender issue, I think we should have starting to gather in the data is in more detailed exactly how much proportion is going to female, and if we don't know the data, we can't address the issue. And then I go back to the solution bit, is that we have the most amazing systems now empowered by AI, machine learning, learning the typologies, learning how to tackle, prevent fraud, identity fraud, any type of fraud. And I think we just need a bit of patience. But again, as a builders, I always want to see opportunities for businesses, right? And opportunities for the compliance officers, give us a break. It's hard to work in the anti-financial, anti-money laundering and fraud. But again, you have to think ahead of the game. You have to constantly build, evolve, and trying to find those solutions. And we're together, I think, fighting this crime.
And I think this is maybe where the call for looking and trying to get more gender disaggregated data around different crime types might actually then help in tailoring different types of solutions. So because we know that AI, generative AI, is able to kind of target different categories of people, different age groups of people, but we're still using some of the same solution to prevent, whereas criminals are actually iterating and becoming more personalized, more sophisticated, more culturally sensitive, and targeted as well across, the masses. So it's not just, again, gender, but like different categories of vulnerable people, the elderly. Like, I know my mom and dad use the internet different to how I do, and blockchain, let's not even go there for my parents. But so now let's go to solutions, unless Val, you had something that you wanted to add?
No, I was just saying, what I keep thinking is these emerging technologies really are a sword and a shield. And I think it's really got to be collective, like you said, Leven, public-private, to have it be more the shield than the sword. So, absolutely.
And this is where I can't remember the parachute analogy that we heard this morning, but if somebody wants to ask it, there's a guy in the back who will share it with you. It's brilliant. Use the right tool or the right mechanism for the right problem. But you have to understand the problem to be able to do that. And again, I don't think we fully understand the problem today that we're seeing, and we need more data around that. So for solutions, Valeria, what do you think we can do to move the dial forward, either for women working in crypto, women as builders, or women as consumers of crypto products and victims? Just pick one.
Obviously, I have the solution. I will be like, I don't know where, but I don't know what the solution is. I have an opinion.
I love it.
I feel like, and I know I trigger that positivity vibe.
You do.
That was good.
And I believe in it, but I don't want to dismiss the fact that I know there are gaps and I know there are differences, so we're all aware of that. And everything adds. So, for example, we have hiring quotas, which I think is okay, but I think we should focus more in early education. Like, I personally have a thing with quotas because I know it's there so we get represented, but I feel like there are enough talented women out there that we don't need to just fill in a quota, which should be hired for who you are, Are we?
No, keep going.
I'm getting signaled. You speak.
Okay. No, that, and I was last week in another conference where they were talking about there are not as many, engineers in executive. I don't think we are doing a good job at sparking that interest in little girls, as we are not also educating the boys to. I think it's too late when we all have unconscious bias, because we all have it, to try to say, you need to promote the women. And the other thing, I guess, is we do work a lot in silos, and I understand it's because we have felt discriminated and this and that, but I don't think that's the best way. We should integrate and look for
I love it.
ambassadors.
Oh, ambassadors.
Love that. Love that.
Leven?
Again, I'm going to say opportunities for business. At the moment, we all, personal opinion, we all hear this, crypto build man, sell to man. I think it's not for loss of, we were saying earlier on, it's not loss for women. I think it's loss for business. It's craving for business, because if we look at the ecosystem, right, women tend to buy and hold, which is creating the stability for the ecosystem, where if we are in the long-term game, this is what we need. But if you look at out there, we call crypto bro, you don't call crypto godmother. We call, you look at all these amazing sponsorship for men's sports, but it costs tiny little amount for female football championship, but nobody wants to sponsor it. So I think, looking at the opportunities for business, and they need to rethink about it, right? there are a huge population needed that a little bit of education, needed that a little bit of intrigue. Women love shopping. That's the fundamental thing, right?
I love it.
If you make them attractive, they will buy it, and they have that fundamental. And a lot of people that are around me, they started to get into crypto through ETF, and now we have a lot of different financial instruments that are involved in crypto, and women start to invest. And I think that's amazing to see. So there is a huge opportunity for business, crypto business, to target women and to give them education, and that's what I'm craving for to see. And if anybody in the crypto space, that's, I think, an opportunity to do not miss.
I think what you're touching on, if I can, also is a bit of myth busting about the risk aversion of women. You know, are women naturally risk averse? Is that true? Is it perception? I think what you're saying in terms of what the opportunities are, and the fact that, look, ETFs have opened up a market, but that's only the beginning in terms of women investing power, because there is incredible unlock there.
And we do make up half the world or something like it. So, you know, it's a business opportunity. Darya, your solution.
So the solution how to protect women and make the space more trusted and safe is education. Raise awareness on how to invest, risk management, never invest more than you're willing to lose. And so it's like, these are basics, but for newcomers, they are basic that needs to be learned, as well as there should be probably even obligatory showcasing the pattern of scams, because for us it's clear that we don't have to click this suspicious link, don't answer this suspicious SMS, don't talk to this suspicious phone call, but then people end up still losing money. They get tricked. So by education, by showcasing what could happen, the patterns, we can prevent this from happening. That's only way, I think.
And I think definitely for vulnerable communities where you have individuals who have been unbanked, or communities that have been unbanked, that suddenly they're like, especially in emerging markets where there's grand scale crypto adoption because of domestic kind of challenges with currencies going up and down and the value going up and down. Once somebody takes on, they're like, I'm going to open up a crypto wallet and send money or receive money, and then they're scammed. There needs to be something that we need to do around kind of, again, not just education, but so consumer education and protection, not just, again, for women, but just for vulnerable populations and communities at large, I think is one of the things. So do we have time for one question, Sandra? Or are we can close the panel. All right, who has a burning question? Oh no, Cedric. We have a question in the back.
Guaranteed.
Thank you.
Great panel, 5 of you. Where is the man who can then teach the men how to work with women? You know my wife.
Beautiful.
Very strong character, powerful woman. It's not easy for men. I got no issue with that because I've been always surrounded with very strong women. How can we help men who feel threatened by strong women to learn how to work with women? During the panel at the Ukraine House, it was all about not diversity, but inclusion.
Yes.
I think we need to stop thinking that it's one against another. I think we need to start moving into the logic is one with another, and together we're stronger. Instead of having, so we need to teach the young men generation, or the actual men, is actually you're not a threat. You are something that works together with us and make us more inclusive and more powerful. And how do we convey that message? That's the question.
That is an excellent question. I would love to get your advice on that. I know where to find you, but Leven?
I feel like we're in a marriage consolation. But I totally agree. But my personal opinion, I think, and this morning at your panel, I think I heard a great thing. We have too many isms. And I think that's we get distracted. And at workforce, I don't think when you are focused on building something and delivering value, you're focusing, am I working with a man or women? And you cooperate. And that's how we do. And that's why we call it professional, not couple. Right? You don't have to deal with that in emotional. Of course, at workforce, you always have emotion. And that's where we got HR, we got people management skills. And that's where I want to say is developing individual skills and softer skills to be able to deliver that. You don't have to care about whether it's a man or women. And I think when we started this, I was like, just by the opportunity, I would love to thank you, Sandra, to make this panel happen, and GBBC to put this panel together. But my personal view is that I don't like to see women Web3 panel exist. I think from customer base, leadership, anywhere, I want it to reflect the world we live in. There's no talk about it. And that's my answer.
That's what success looks like, not that she doesn't think we need to have it. So success looks like
Love that.
the fact that there isn't this divergence between one and the other. And I think we're done.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Val.
No, it's okay.
So thank you so much for joining us. We are happy to hear any recommendations in regards to the question that Cedric answered. And thank you, GBBC, for making this possible.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.